good morning. You're watching QTV this morning. How's your morning going there? I am Ibrahim Abalde. We are back again on another edition of your favorite morning program here on QTV. So wherever you are, buckle up and get ready. We are about to roll, rock and roll, the roller coaster again. Yeah, so good morning. I have Mr. Mamadou Mbodj, the co-host of this program, and Mr. Adedrame as the newspaper review guest. And of course, good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, gentlemen.
How are you?
Alhamdulillah, as always.
How have you been? What's happening yesterday? It was a rainy Tuesday yesterday. So.
Well, yeah, but that was forecast, wasn't it, really? So everybody was sort of preparing for it. Exactly. That on Tuesday it was going to rain. So everybody was prepared for it, really.
Yeah. So, Mr. Adedrame, how are you dealing with the rain and the mud?
I'm not so good because we've had a bit more rain than you know in the past few days. But the rain and the electricity don't seem to go well together.
Yeah.
So from about 10 o'clock last night at home, I live near Coastal Road on Bertil Harding Highway, till this morning when we had no electricity.
Oh.
The whole area was in darkness.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
And so I thought, oh, maybe by the morning it will be better, but sadly not.
There was power cut yesterday at my house, but only for 10 minutes.
Okay.
And it came back. Then we continued.
You say man, actually.
Say again?
You say man.
Yeah, you said.
There was power cut throughout?
No, just for about 10 minutes or so, yes. And then it came back.
Probably we share the same line too, because it's from the airport area. That's my line. You know, you should be having electricity, but you're not far from the airport.
I live very close to the airport, but yes, complete darkness yesterday.
Exactly. So you're watching QTV this morning. We will review the newspaper and, of course, do the African proverb for you. QCell Sunyu Boss will also be on the program, and we'll talk about the QCell Summer Data Plus. I mean, you want to plus? The Data Plus is here for you. Mamadou Bari, Senior Sales Supervisor QCell, and Buba Saidi Khan, Marketing Supervisor QCell. They'll be on the program, and we will discuss in detail. So get ready as we are about to delve into the African proverb. The heart that forgives is the first to find peace. The heart to forgive is the first to find tranquility. The heart that forgives is the first to find peace. Okay, all right. So at this point, Mr. Ade, I'll take a short break, and after the break, the program continues. We'll be back.
We innovate, others follow, QCell, Summer Data Plus, soon you boss, soon you month, everything is class. We innovate, others follow, kun you top a dinga, Fakastalu, QCell, soon you boss, you fit in the best, highly discounted, what do you best? Noom to the Summer Data Plus, take the internet, the one you go to sue for sue. Mko Summer Data Plus, yeah, QCell bon, what cheaper than free, ikodi, mko price all for never. 300 MB, $20, 1.5 GB, $50, 4 GB, $140, 10 GB, $250. Usually bundle jungle ngeni yangana ko anro no YouTube, TikTok, Sumadu Jadi, Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook. Namul, Sunyumon, Sunyu Summer Data Splash. Butanga dete, butanga dete, butanga. Dial *303# and choose option 7 to activate your QCell Summer Data Splash.
Yeah, we are back again. You're watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Abalde, and thanks for always willing to watch this program. And our viewers who follow us on our social media handles, you can as well send your comments, but you can also share the link so that your friends and family can also follow this program. Yeah, so Mr. Mamadou Mbodj.
You haven't said hello to Banki in Spain.
Banki in Spain, our wonderful viewer.
Regular viewer.
Our wonderful viewer as well. Yeah, so you know, Julde, I mean, I'm taking Julde's line. Wonderful viewers. I mean, you know, get well soon, Julde Njai. Yeah, so the heart that forgives is the first to find peace. Mr. Ade.
It's an interesting one.
Is that so?
Yes.
Well, it's
Not
interesting.
so?
It's interesting, and the fact that it comes from Ethiopia, where there
Addis Ababa
doesn't seem to be a lot of forgiveness right now.
in Ethiopia.
I mean, there's been sort of endless skirmishes, full-blown war. You know, yeah, it's an interesting one. I mean, the heart that forgives is the first to find peace. I guess it's about, they say it to people many times, don't carry around, you know, grudges with you. If somebody's done something bad to you, you're kind of affecting yourself by kind of holding a grudge.
Excess baggage.
Yeah, you know, so yes, you just kind of, you forgive, but maybe you don't forget. Maybe you don't forget. And so, you know, the two things are not sort of mutually exclusive. Doesn't mean because you forgive and you've forgotten.
Absolutely.
But you're not dwelling on it. So, and then if that, then you can find contentment, then you can find peace. So yes, I think there's an element of truth.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like an invisible weight, isn't it? That sort of thing. So it's like forgiving, it's more therapeutic to the forgiver. As essentially what it's saying, I will find my peace. So it is therapeutic, apparently, to forgive.
It can be, because sometimes what's interesting is that the people who have wronged you, when they see that you forgive, they feel really bad. Like, oh my God, you know, I said something terrible, or I did something terrible to this person, and they've forgiven me. I wish I hadn't. You know, it's too late. The deed was done. But you know, then you kind of transfer the baggage from you on back onto them, and it's their burden to carry. And they think, why was I horrible to this person when the person was so willing to forgive? So there's an element of truth in it.
Well, there is an extent. I mean, there are people that, you know, they cannot even forgive. You know, I've come across people that will say, I will never forgive this individual. I mean, I will never ever forgive. I will never let it go. You know, we will continue our. We will continue this issue until the rest of our lives. I'll never forgive. I've seen people who don't even forgive people who've died. I mean, people who say, even if they die, I'll never forgive them. We've seen all those things. Even
there are people who say that. Sometimes they don't mean it. Sometimes they do mean it.
Sometimes like they don't mean it.
Sometimes they do mean it when they say, I will never. I know somebody who, because of what had happened between her and her father, she always said, you know, she would never forgive him, because after her mother died, the father then started dating much younger women, having affairs. And, you know, to me, it's like, you know, there must have been something that made him want to do that.
But that's personal.
And well, this is it. But, you know, I remember trying to counsel her and say, look, you know, you need to forgive your father. And when he died, she cried buckets of tears. It was too late. She never had the chance to say to him, you know, I forgive you, it's okay. And she wished she had. And you know, somebody I know very, very well, and she just cried and cried. You know? And to me, that was a lesson.
Yeah, another scenario that happened, there is another young lady that I know, she wasn't talking to her father until the dad died. The dad passed away. I mean, it's too late. I mean, that's why it's important.
But it depends.
Mr. Ade, let us learn to forgive each other.
It's easier said than done.
Let us
it depends on the harm that has been done to you.
That's it. And that's my question, really. What does it mean to forgive? That sort of thing. Well, and it's always a process, isn't it? It's never a moment. For instance, with that person who said, I will never forgive this or that, we've seen also examples where at a given point in your life you've said that, but given time you change your mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean-
So the last one never really says the last word, if you know what I mean,
yeah,
until
go
you're dead, as
Yeah,
it were.
yeah, go on.
So many things have changed. So you just never know. Forgiveness, it is a process. It takes time, and it's difficult in some moments, depending on the experience.
But
isn't
I
it?
think
It's very
the
difficult.
individual that needs forgiveness too, I think have a role to play when it comes to the individual that is offended. I mean, to forgive. You know,
It kind of,
you know,
yeah.
even God, if you do something wrong, you regret your actions and you come back to Him, He forgives. But if you are pompous, if you did not consider that you are like, you don't need forgiveness at some point too, that's another thing.
I once went to Sierra Leone to do a radio documentary for the BBC. Initially, the documentary was meant to be about the power of radio, but it kind of almost ended up being about the power of forgiveness. Because what happened was, I was interviewing people about how radio kept them in touch during the Civil War. But I ended up interviewing a lot of people who had been disfigured, and they had arms and, you know, legs, arms, whatever, cut off. And as I spoke to more and more of them, and some of them, they were living in what was called a disabled camp. And just down the road, a mile down the road, was the camp for the former fighters of the RUF, some of whom had been involved in disfiguring these people. And I said to them, you know, I gathered them all around, and I said, you know, how do you feel about these people, that they're so close to you, and, you know, and one woman, Mary, she said, they killed my 2 children. She said, but she said, I'm a Christian. She said, I have to forgive. She said, because I can't carry the hate and the anger in my heart. She said, it will never bring my children back. And my BBC English colleagues said to me, oh, they're only saying this because we've got the cameras and we've got the microphones. I said, switch it off. They'll say exactly the same thing. I said, they mean it. But they couldn't comprehend it, because everybody we spoke to, and we didn't speak to them, we spoke to them first of all in a group and then separately. And even when we spoke to them individually, all of them were talking about the need to forgive and move on. I have to be honest, I also found it hard to comprehend, because I remember saying to Mary, if somebody had cut off my arm, I said, I don't think I'd be able to forgive them. I said, I really don't. You know, God forbid that it should happen. But she said, what can you do? You cannot carry the hate and the anger with you for the rest of your life. So, yeah, they had found peace.
I've watched a documentary in Rwanda. You know, there's a lady, this man killed the husband of the lady, and I think 4 children, you know, boys and girls of that lady. So when they interviewed the lady, she was with, in fact, if my memory can serve me right, the woman ended up marrying that man.
The killer.
You know, and when they asked her why, she said, look, I cannot continue doing this. I mean, Rwanda, they said we should turn to a new page. So this is how we have to forgive each other. So at the end of the time, they're together, you know.
So there are you know, remarkable stories like that, and I think that kind of gives the truth to this proverb. You know, the heart that forgives is the first to find peace.
Absolutely, and forgiving or forgiveness, it's really one of the cornerstones of a society, sort of like this, just emerging from conflict.
This is it.
You know what I mean? All these reconciliation programs around the world.
Truth and reconciliation in South Africa, in Sierra Leone, here.
Without that element of forgiveness, then the reconciliation that you want wouldn't take place, isn't it? Yeah. And it's a way of shifting focus, isn't it? From the past to the future. Isn't it? So it's a brilliant idea for the individual and for society as well.
This is it. And they say don't dwell on it, but in Rwanda what they say is that nonetheless we will keep the record for future generations to say this is where we were and this is where we should never go again.
That's it. It's not the same thing as forgetting.
This is it, exactly. It's not
you
forgetting.
are not forgetting at all.
But it's forgiving and moving on. Otherwise you can't.
Exactly. So viewers, we'll take a short break. After the break, then we will take a look at some of the stories on the different newspapers.
We'll be back.
We innovate, others follow, QCell, so my data's plus. Soon you boss, soon you month, everything is class. We innovate, others follow, kun you top a dinga, Vakastalo. QCell, soon you boss, you fit in the best. Highly discounted, bundle you best. Noom to the summer, data's plus. Take the internet, the one you go to sue for sue. Cause summer data's plus, yeah. QCell bundle, go cheaper than free. Equally, go price all for never. 300 MB, $20. 1.5 GB, $50. 4 GB, $140. 10 GB, $250. Usually bundle jungle lingen yangana ko andro no YouTube. TikTok sumadu jadi Instagram WhatsApp do Facebook. Namul sunyumon sunyu summer data splash. Butama dete, butama dete, butama dete. Dial star 303 hash and choose option 7 to activate your QCell summer data splash. Butama dete.
Q-Money e Orange Money joni weɓini nuldugol mbuɗi mi yetoma joni ida wawi nuldude mbuɗi iwra ko Gambia ɗo yaha Sénégal e Q-Money wallet ma on eyyi ko honno wonɗa e fadde mi yetoma udduto Q-Money account ma on joni fuɗɗoɗa nuldude mbuɗi e teriɓe ma rewa ɗon ka Orange Money nder Sénégal fi heɓugol hen ko laaɓi ida wawi noddude Q-Money customer care e 133 Q-Money suñu kalpe ɗum no yaadi e sartaji.
Hi there, my name is Nuruddin Adams, a proud product of this noble institution. Heritage Christian University is not just a learning place, but a community that transforms lives and empowers its students to become compassionate entrepreneurial leaders. My journey here has truly been life-changing, and I invite you to come experience the same. Whether your passion is into business, nursing, midwifery, psychology, communication studies, multimedia technology, information technology, or theology and ministry, Heritage has tailored these programs for both the undergraduate and graduate studies to suit your goal. If you're ever ready to take your education to the next level, then pick up an application form and join us today. At Heritage, you are never alone, as members of the community will stand and work with you every step of the way. Welcome to Heritage Christian University.
Q-Money.
We are back. You are watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Abalde. Thank you very much for joining us now. Let's move on. After the break, we have the Foroya newspaper with us. Former Jammeh Commissioner Chair, Defense Independence amid scrutiny over government interference. The man himself was on the commission yesterday. As you know, they are looking into the sales of the assets of former President Yahya Jammeh, which really caused a lot of commotion the past 2-3 months. So Jammeh himself was on the commission, and he also presented what he knows, and he answered some of their questions, Mr. Ade.
He answered quite a lot of their questions, and I thought it would be a kind of smooth, but it got a bit touchy at times, and because he wanted to clarify certain things, who could be described as a commissioner and so on, and it was quite sort of meticulous, and so the select committee themselves, they also, they pushed him, and at one point he mentioned that there had been attempts at government interference, but he was able to resist, because you mentioned the sale was the sale and disposal of those assets. So some of them were apparently given away for nothing or next to nothing. Some of them were sold, and the allegation is that many of them were sold at undervalue. And so this is what the select committee is looking at. And so yes, the man himself, whose name gives the commission his name, the original commission, Jammeh Commission, was there. And yeah, he was,
So, in fact, I just want us to discuss the committee itself. The council and his team, the people that are doing this investigation. Mr. Ade, what can you tell us about the way they carry themselves, the way they do the interviews?
It's been done well so far. So what we need to realize is that it is a select committee. And so a select committee is made up of members of the National Assembly. It's not a commission. It's not a commission of inquiry. It's a select committee. It's a special select committee. And I have to say, I've been quietly impressed. I don't want to get carried away just yet, because we're in the kind of early stage of the whole thing. And so this is kind of fact-finding. So before we had the Attorney General and Minister of Justice asked about, to give evidence or details about how the commission came to be constituted. And, a lot of play was made in the newspapers by the fact that he said, I don't know, because, he wasn't there. And he was right to say he didn't know, because at one point they asked him what was the thinking behind why there was a commission of inquiry and not some other method of seizing and disposing of the assets. So that was the first one. And then, of course, yesterday we had. So far, it's been conducted quite well. And, of course, it's open to the public, and it's broadcast live, so people can follow it. We've carried the proceedings and we carried the broadcast, and of course the National Assembly carried it on their Facebook page as well, so people can and on YouTube as well.
To me, imagine a jigsaw puzzle. We've got a few pieces, but I don't think that there's any pattern beginning to emerge. So one needs more sort of pieces.
That's right.
But it was interesting from what he said, the power dynamic, if you like, of the group. You didn't have the boss as such, somebody who was in charge. He said, well, they were more equal.
Consensus.
And
he said there were times when, as chair, if he needed to take the deciding vote, then his vote would carry the day, if it came to that. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And the one that the newspaper headline there referring to is that there was this particular demand from the State House, and he categorically rejected it because they had no right to say that, it must be this or it must be that. So we'll just have to, as usual in these things, suspend judgment.
Well, indeed.
And be listening, because here one really wants to understand, not to blame this or blame that, isn't it?
Yeah,
so it's understanding really that you need. Well, then you need to be level-headed, and be listening properly and suspend judgment until the evidence builds itself up to wherever.
And that's the point I was going to come to when you asked, because it's very much early days. And imagine that this was a court proceeding, a trial, for example. You wouldn't make a judgment on the first or second day. You haven't heard all the evidence. You haven't heard several sides of a particular argument. And until you've heard those, there might even be differing views, even from people who themselves were part of the commission. One commissioner might have a different recollection about a specific incident, compared to another commissioner. So until you've heard all of those sides, I think then you can say, okay, a picture has now emerged, and I can make a decision. It's early days,
so
but encouraging.
Pressure group warns possible electoral manipulation in overseas ID card scheme.
Look,
manipulation.
Yeah, I mean, people always fear these things, that they're going to get out of hand if people outside of the Gambia, get an ID. Look, it's laughable when inside the Gambia people can pay for all sorts of dodgy stuff and get ID cards here. Never mind about overseas. Because the thing is, I guess part of the overseas ID scheme is allowing the diaspora vote, somewhere down the line and so on, because you don't necessarily need to have a Gambian passport, to be able to vote. So again, something that we've been struggling to see, how do we include those Gambians outside who the Constitution says they should be allowed to vote? How do we include them in the electoral process? Well, one way is, as they do in other countries, is to have an ID, which you take come election time to your local embassy or High Commission or whatever the case may be, and you vote there. That it will be the polling station. You need something, So I'm not sure why they have the fear that it will be manipulated if it's, the kind of the overseas one anymore. You can manipulate the one here.
Probably it's done.
You can
outside,
manipulate the one here.
No, they fear there will be no control.
No, this is very interesting. The argument itself is very curious. Possible fraud or possible wrongdoing. Anything I want to introduce, the possibility that it will be abused exists.
It's there.
It's a general point.
Yeah.
It's not specific to this at all.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to take all sort of possibilities, take the worst case scenario, for me not to do anything, then you will never do. You are never going to do anything.
Yeah.
You're taking risks, whatever you do. So that is not a good enough reason, to my mind, to deny them ID cards.
Yeah,
it's not a good reason.
If the diplomatic passes can be manipulated at some point, we're not saying manipulation is okay, but it should not prevent you from broadening your horizon. It shouldn't prevent you from doing things that you've never done before.
We're talking about things you've never done before, far more serious than an ID card, as I mentioned here last week or the week before, whatever it was. I spoke to people who, just in casual conversation, mentioned to me that they got a driving license before they'd ever sat behind the wheel of a car. That's far more dangerous than getting an ID card to vote, for me. Because if you then go and sit behind the car, you're a killer. You know, that car is a lethal weapon. Far more dangerous. And we know how easy it is to get driving licenses here. So, you know, we should be more concerned with something like that than, you know,
I think those are things that we should...
Because for it to work, you'd have to tens, if not hundreds of thousands of fake IDs for it to make a dent in the electoral process. If 10 or 20 people get it, it's not going to, it's like a spit in the ocean, really.
Any system, as we say, is as good as the people.
Yeah.
Our structures are not working because of what we are,
Yeah.
or who we are.
Yeah.
So that's really what,
We are
what's
the reason
going
it
on.
doesn't work.
We are the reason it doesn't work. So it's just quite curious. We're just looking all in the wrong places for solutions. It seems to me that's what we're doing, looking in the wrong places for solutions.
So, I mean, Madi Cisse is on the paper saying, right group call on President Barrow to enforce Russian oil inquiry recommendation. But this Russian oil thing is really making the headlines.
It's been rumbling on and on and on. And some of the recommendations are that people should be prosecuted and so on. And I guess that's what they're pushing for. And in any fair-minded society, you would say yes, if these findings have come and these are the recommendations. But how many times have we heard of recommendations that have not been followed up? We talk about the TRRC. The government has given its intention to follow through on what the white paper recommended following the TRRC's conclusion. But for all sorts of reasons, many of those have not come to fruition. It was ever thus, you know, and probably always will be. You know, that some things, but you wonder why they would not follow through on the recommendations, particularly recommendations that say there should be recompense, that people should pay back, or that people should be prosecuted. And if those things don't happen, you'd have to ask why. Why not?
And it was interesting that it came on the back of the Republic
that's
report.
Right.
So it's sort of like building up.
It kind of pushed everything.
So there's an image, as it were, emerging here. Sort of corruption with impunity. Some people were calling it.
Well, this is it. So yeah.
Gambia joined France to celebrate National Day. I'm seeing the picture of the new Foreign Affairs Minister, Saïd Moudou. You know, on the line, I think, is this going to be his first engagement since he took over office, probably?
It was his first, and then his second engagement was yesterday, when he summoned all the people from the consular and diplomatic corps. We carried a story on the news yesterday, just a brief story, 1 minute, 25 seconds. He got all the ambassadors, high commissioners and honorary consuls, introduced himself to them. He got the Justice Minister and Attorney General to mention about the Constitution. And Justice Minister said, there's no crisis, constitutional crisis. It's just that draft constitution has been rejected for a second time. And then you also had Dr. Ismaila Cisse address them as well. So that was and that was quite a good thing for him to do, bring them all together and say, I'm the new Foreign Affairs Minister, happy to meet you, let's see how we can work together. And by all accounts, there were some nice exchanges there, but it was a good touch. It was a nice touch for him to do that.
Yeah, one thing I know, I mean, the seat that he is occupying, it's a very important one. I mean, the relations between Gambia and other countries. And I think most of these ambassadors and some of these councillors that are deployed to other countries, should be put on check as well, because we've seen a lot of problems that emerge, during the early days of President Barrow when he sent some of the ambassadors to other countries. We've seen the United States one, whereby they have to ask one of the diplomats to come back
to be recalled
to the Gambia. And
well, it's you're appointing human beings, and no system is perfect. You can vet and vet and vet, and I think what you're getting at is that there should be kind of enhanced vetting before we send people to the most important, sort of diplomatic posts. Have they been properly vetted? We know that not just in the Gambia, but worldwide, it's very much a kind of political thing. You appoint people who you think are in your corner, but nonetheless, they need to be competent. And particularly, as I said, if you're sending them to the high-profile places, Beijing, to Washington, to London, Ankara, those places, you need people who are the best of the best.
Imagine the scenario that happened the other time, where a driver bit off the finger of the boss in one of the countries, and the reason behind it's because of a woman. At some point, imagine that.
And we had in the 90s, a diplomat was recalled from London, somebody who I knew very well, because he was in danger of being prosecuted there for beating his wife. So, like I said, these are human beings, and they have their foibles and so on, but there needs to be a very kind of heightened vetting process.
At least.
Before we deploy people, not just give it to them as, somebody who's supported my party.
Mr. Mboj, do you think vetting can possibly happen here, or this political appointment situation?
You see, possibilities, anything is possible in many ways. Perhaps the thing is, what is probable given, what we've come to see, what we've come to experience with these people. Hey, look, let's put it this way, Gambia, we don't have much. When you look at that, was why Jammeh'S foreign policy was the way it was. I mean, making friends, building this image as this peaceful little country, run democratically and competently, and friends to everybody. So that was how we were getting help to start things. For instance, the old Gamtel, Jammeh spoke to Mitterrand, and then they helped, the French and that sort of thing. So you can see there how important diplomacy is. Right now, we want people to come and invest, to be investment friendly. To me, this they call it developmental diplomacy. That's what we do to engage in now. So it will be interesting to see what would be different.
Yes, quite.
What would he bring differently to that ministry from Tangara, that sort of thing. So
and I think people shouldn't just say, because this person was in defense, necessarily that's their thinking. Because I think we had a discussion, we thought maybe security might be, a heightened thing, which is a possibility, because you read now, one of the reasons why the United States wants to kind of clamp down on countries along this coast is because they think that we're kind of drugs hub, us, Guinea-Bissau and all these other countries. So, there's a kind of heightened thing. So security might be thing, but I think we shouldn't just say, because he was in, the defense minister, then naturally defense will be all about, because trade is more important to us probably than anything else.
But absolutely. If you need the defense, that security aspect, as it were, fantastic, but he needs other skills as well.
Indeed.
There might be a learning curve ahead.
That's right. And this is why you need good civil servants who can brief you properly, and so for every person you meet, you know everything about them. So for example, Donald Trump, obviously nobody briefed him about Liberia and Liberia's connection with America, and the fact that English is the language spoken there, which is why he talked nonsense the other day.
So on the Standards newspaper, the ex-finance director says BCC operates under disorganized system.
you can stick a pin in any organization in this country, and that. So this is coming from the inquiry into the, and it's talking about Banjul City Council, I presume you're talking about there. We found these council inquiries have revealed that almost all the councils are very dysfunctional, really, and systems. Disorganized isn't even the beginning of it, it's just real chaotic stuff, and people doing crazy stuff that they should not be doing. You hear people saying to this commission, I don't think there's anything wrong with council funds being paid into my personal bank account. The fact that you could think it is fine, but the fact that you could even say it is astonishing. And yet we've heard people say that they don't think there's anything wrong with that. There's everything wrong with that, because it's simply inappropriate. Council should have proper systems and procedures. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, for a long time now, with the National Assembly Committee reports or National Audit Office
reports, what they've revealed.
Every institution, you can see there's dysfunction. There's an institutional dysfunction really around here. We're not doing the management very well.
Yeah.
But that's the challenge.
And that's why when you see people making these unfair comparisons with Singapore, they come up every year, almost every month. And there was one doing the rounds last week, a long, quite interesting one, talking about, Singapore, Gambia, independence at the same time. In fact, we were admitted as UN members on the same day. Our flags were raised on the same day at the UN, September 1965. But systems were put in place that people had to abide by, or else there were consequences. And we never had that. In terms of the laws and the statute books is there, saying that there should be consequences. But one of the things that people are aghast at when they hear from these local council inquiries is that they ask them, is there a book that you go by that says you do this, and say, yes, it is. Why did you not follow it? Oh, well, when I came here, nobody was following it, So there's that attitude, and we're discussing with our colleague Bala, and he was saying that, we really should be featuring this on the news every day, so because some of the revelations are absolutely jaw-dropping, really.
And the attitude, the approach. It was curious that Lee Kuan Yew, the Singapore bit, he said when they took over, politics wasn't a vocation, it was a crusade.
Quite.
See, that just really tells you that the direction, maybe that sense of being sort of in a crusade with the religious overtones.
Yeah, quite.
You know what I mean? That commitment, it really invites you to commit yourself, engage politics. We used to call it engage literature. Maybe it is the politics that needs to be truly engaged to do things in the interest of the people, not simply come and form this kleptocracy.
Well, this is you and I were talking about Mustafa Kemal Ataturk, transforming from the Ottoman Empire to the modern state of Turkey. New language, everything, secular state and everything else. There was that zeal, there was that, passion that drove him, that said this will work, no matter what, and everybody had to buy into it or else.
What are we talking about?
So yeah.
What are we talking about?
So newspapers.
So what we do, we'll take a short break, and after the break, then we'll continue the conversation.
Orange money ye bulo di nyola pour ka kodi kio sone yandi ka bonan Gambia banko kan kata Senegal banko kan anin Q money wallet e ka mune batu e muna fan Q money account wala sign pour ka dati ka kodoki e terimal anila dimbayal kana anin Orange money Senegal ni lafta ku Senegal sotola je Q money customer care commandi 133 Q money sunyu kalpe nying sartolle bala.
Q Money and Orange Money has just made money transfer easier. Now you can send money from Gambia to Senegal directly from your Q Money wallet. So what are you waiting for? Get your Q Money account now and start sending money to your friends and families through Orange Money in Senegal now. For more information, call our customer care on 133. Q Money, Sunu Kalpe. Terms and conditions apply.
Yes, we are back. You are watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Balde. So now we'll be connecting to Zainab Chow. She's currently in Nairobi, attending, women leaders, summit.
It's called Femnet.
Femnet, which is very significant. We always talk about how to empower women, how to make sure women are involved in our democratic process, in our governance process. It's important for us to engage Zainab. Good morning, Zainab.
Good afternoon.
It's afternoon down there already.
Yeah, it's afternoon.
Yes. By the way, you're looking very good.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you,
So please take us through what exactly is happening down there.
So basically, the 3-day dialogue brings together women leaders from the legal and justice profession across Africa, organized by the Women Development and Communication Network, FEMNET, and its aim is to empower women leadership and development across Africa.
So, the conference started 3 days back. So what exactly, 2 days back, what exactly was the center of discussion?
Yes, it's about basically women leaders from diverse or different countries share some of their experiences when it comes to the challenges that women in the legal and justice profession faces, which includes discrimination, sexual harassment, and lack of finance among the key discussions or discussions that women discuss. So basically, today is the last day, and they are hoping on implementing some of these or overcome some of these challenges that women in the legal and justice professions face.
So Zainab, were you able to ask them how are they going to implement this? Because most of the time we bring laws, but to implement them becomes problem.
Yes. Yes, that is true, because they believe that raising awareness is one of the key things that women need to do to empower each other, and they also need to encourage women to stop discriminating fellow women when it comes to their personal growth, because discrimination tends to retard their personal growth and development. So they talk about so many challenges, like I said previously, but looking forward to implementing it by the media, which is a key, very important when it comes to sharing information. So they want the media to be sharing the information, like I am doing right now, of some of the challenges that women faces in the legal field. It's not just in the legal, but in all sectors. So the media is a big tool among among some of the strategies they've discussed to make sure that these discussions are implemented or will be implemented at the end of the day by using this strategy.
So before Mr. Ade or Mr. Mboy come in here, I would like to know you were able to meet some of the global women and global leaders in Kenya. Through the discussions, did you sense similar problems that we have in our country, the Gambia, facing women?
Oh yes, like you said, harassment is all over. I've engaged Ananjai, who is the president of Female Lawyers Association, FLAG, and she also highlighted some of the challenges, which includes discrimination and harassment. And this is, according to her, it's not just in the Gambia, but it's over the globe. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Mr. Ade.
Yes, in fact, I was going to bring, but you've already touched on that, Zainab. I was going to ask that, of course, I edited your report about meeting with Ananjai of the Female Lawyers Association of the Gambia, FLAG, and were her contributions to the summit, were they very different to what other people were saying? Were there some countries that were better, some countries that were worse? What was it, across the board, or was it harassment across the board?
I didn't get that. I didn't get that correction, Mr. Ade.
Okay, in terms of what you spoke to with Ananjai from FLAG, Female Lawyers Association of the Gambia, right. How different were her experiences to those of other people, or how similar were her experiences based on what she spoke to you about yesterday?
Yeah, among the problems that she highlighted, I've just mentioned earlier, that is discrimination. So according to her, they feel that women being in leaders or in the leadership position, it's a man-dominated area, you know, especially in the Gambia. So those were among the challenges that she highlighted, that so many people, especially in the Gambia, faces that certain positions should be held by men, not women. So those are the that's not just the Gambia, but that is all the women from different parts of Africa mentioned that they face those challenges and they are looking forward to minimizing them if possible.
So Zainab, just my final one from me before I hand over to Mboj if he wants to come in.
Right.
When we look at a country like Rwanda in terms of parliamentary representation, it's very much leading the way in Africa. In terms of the legal profession, were there any countries that stood out as being, in terms of women in leadership roles, that was could be said to be leading the way?
If there is any?
Is there any country amongst the participants where it
Hello,
could...
Mr. Ade, I am struggling to hear you.
Oh dear. I'm not sure,
Yeah.
you're in a very noisy place, so
It
I'll try and
seems.
shout. I hope you can hear me
Yeah.
now. I was saying that when it comes to parliamentary representation, Rwanda is very much setting the pace in Africa. In terms of the legal profession, was there any country that could be said to be setting the pace in terms of women's representation in leadership roles across Africa, in the way that Rwanda is in terms of parliamentary representation in the legal profession? Did any of that come through in the discussion so far?
No, not really. But
Oh,
we
dear.
have the like of Zimbabwe that kind of feel that women leadership is a bit okay. You know, they have a law whereby if you have a man who is leading, the next person should be a female. So actually, those were not raised. So if I get the question right.
Yeah, so
yeah.
Zainab, thank you, Mr. Mboj.
Yes, hello, Zainab. Perhaps a more general
Yes,
one.
Mr. Bush.
Yes. You know, I want to know, what's your key takeaway from that conference? What is it that you know now you didn't know then?
Yes, my key takeaway to this event is it's about time. I've met prominent women, you know, from different part of Africa who are really great. So doing well, and I believe that their work needs to be recognized. So some of the key takeaway I took here is it's about time women are given the opportunity to lead, because they're very capable and when it comes to the work they do. So
Thank you
Yes.
very much, Zainab Chow, for talking to us this morning. Please, say hi to my friend in Kenya, Mark. I have a friend there, Mark. Say hello
say
to
that
him.
again, Balde.
I said I have a friend in Kenya called Mark. Please, you can ask for him.
Just stop anybody on the
Oh,
street.
yeah.
Do you
All
know
right.
Mark?
Yeah,
Brother's friend.
Thank you. Thank you for talking to us. Thank you. Yeah, so we are back again. I mean, Zainab is glowing in Kenya. Wow,
There
not
was a
really
reason
bad.
why I asked the question about, I know I had to shout in the end for her to hear me, because we could tell that it was quite noisy where she was. But I certainly know in Sierra Leone, we have people, you know, we have women who are, you know, at the Supreme Court, at the High Court, and at magistrates level. Many of them, not just one or two. And so I did wonder, and in the Gambia, I know it's a lot fewer. So I did wonder whether, you know, she'd heard from other countries, and she mentioned Zimbabwe and you know, the structure that they have there, where it's a deliberate policy. It's not just, you know, it happens, but certainly in Sierra Leone, there are a lot of women who are, you know, magistrates, High Court judges, and even Supreme Court judges. So, yeah. justices of the Supreme Court.
You need this proactive, as it were, policies. That was why some of us really supported the idea of having quotas as it were, for the National Assembly. So, you know, the countries, the regimes that are committed to it, you see it in their action.
Yes. In Sierra Leone, it's happened by accident. It's not by design. It wasn't that the government said, let's have a quota or anything like that. It just so happens that, you know, a lot of women have come through.
Well, women representative, I mean, I think we still need to go ahead with our advocacy, talk a lot about it, you know, look at some of these things in the National Assembly. And, you know, we have to implement certain things. But most of the time, what I see in most countries, people sit and talk about women representative. The ratio is very small when you look at the women number in the National Assembly and men. And you see, in the Gambia, when it comes to politics, women participate more when it comes to voting, campaigns, you know.
Organizing parties. But
at the end of the time, the results become very minimal. So it's important for us to change the mindset. The whole notion should change. And we start giving women the chance to do certain things.
How? As Mr. Mbo was just saying, that in some senses, perhaps you need a quota system to force the issue. Otherwise, you said we talk about it. Otherwise, that's all we will ever do, is talk about it.
We've seen women president doing very good. I mean, across the country. Let's take a look
across
at
the continent.
you know, there's one president that took over from Magafuli.
Yeah, of course.
Tanzania. She's doing very good. She's doing her level best.
Yes.
Well, if you remember the opposition in Tanzania, you wouldn't think so.
Exactly. Yes, but from us, what we're saying,
cracking down on the
basic things. I mean, that a country should have. We have seen that. We've seen the Prime Minister of Barbados. I mean, how
more closely to us. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was president of Liberia.
You know, we've seen how proactive they were when they were in the helm of affairs. I mean, so I think it's not about it's a woman or a man. It's about a person who can deliver.
And
but the problem is structural, isn't it?
That's
why it's slow. It's really very slow.
And it's kind of weird that in some kind of patriarchal societies, you end up having, like in Pakistan, they've had a female president. Something that people would have thought was, you know, impossible. Virtually impossible. Where 95% of the members of parliament are men. You know, and yet you've had a female president. You know.
Exactly. So, Mr. Adidrame, thank you very much for reviewing the stories with us, and we appreciate the time you've given us.
Always a pleasure.
And we hope to engage you probably next week.
Inshallah.
Yeah, so Mr. Mboj, at this point, we'll take a short break. After the break, we'll be talking to Buba Seidikan, QCell Marketing Supervisor, and of course, Momodu Bari, Sales Supervisor QCell, and the QCell Summer Data Plus. You know, you want to splash it? This is the right time, and this is the right network.
So is this the rain season is summer, is it?
Well,
anyway, we won't go into that.
Our summer starts now. Yeah, so we'll take a short break after the break. Be reminded this program is sponsored by Q Money, the only reliable mobile wallet in the Gambia. You can send and receive money via Orange Money to Senegal, and of course, you can top up. You can do whatever you want, and it's safe and secure. We'll be right back after the break.
Q Money and Orange Money has just made money transfer easier. Now you can send money from Gambia to Senegal directly from your Q Money wallet. So what are you waiting for? Get your Q Money account now and start sending money to your friends and families through Orange Money in Senegal now. For more information, call our customer care on 133. Q Money, Sunu Kalpe. Terms and conditions apply.
We innovate, others follow, QCell Summer Data Plus. Soon you boss, soon you month, everything is class. We innovate, others follow, can you top a dinga for Castello? QCell, soon you boss, you fit in the best. Highly discounted, what do you best? Noom to the Summer Data Plus. Take the internet, the one you go to sue for sue. Mko Summer Data Plus, yeah. QCell bon, for cheaper than free. Ikodi, mko price all for never. 300 MB, $20. 1.5 GB, $50. 4 GB, $140. $10 GB, $250. Usually bundle jungle ling any angana ko anro no YouTube. TikTok sumadu jadi Instagram WhatsApp do Facebook.
Namul, Sunyumon,
Sunyu summer data splash. Butanga dete, butanga dete, butanga dete. Dial *303# and choose option 7 to activate your QCell summer data splash. Butanga dete. Innovate, others follow, QCell summer data splash. Soon you boss, soon you month, everything is class. We innovate, others follow, kun you tapa dinga vakastalu. QCell soon you boss, you fi in the best. Highly discounted, what do you best? Noom to the summer data splash. Take the internet, the one you go see for sue. Mko summer data splash here. QCell bon, go cheaper than free. Ikodi, go price all for never. 300 MB, $20, 125 GB, $50, 4 GB, $140, 10 GB, $250. Usually bundle jungle ling any angana ko anro no YouTube. TikTok sumadu jadi Instagram WhatsApp do Facebook.
Namul, Sunyumon,
Sunyu summer data splash. Butanga dete, butanga dete, butanga dete. Dial *303# and choose option 7 to activate your QCell summer data splash. Butanga dete.
Welcome back. You're watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Abalde. Thank you very much for joining us. Now let's move to the last segment of this program. If you're just tuning in, of course, we'll be talking about the QCell data splash. I mean, you want to splash it. The summer is here, so it's important for you to, get, a QCell line if you don't. And we have Momodu Bari in the studios with us, sales supervisor, QCell. And of course, we have Buba Saidikan, QCell marketing supervisor. And of course, we'll be talking about the summer data splash from QCell. QCell, it's the best GSM operator in the Gambia when it comes to data, when it comes to voice calling, when it comes to other services, the Q Power, the Q Money. We introduce a lot of services to make life very convenient and easy for each and every person living in this country. So if you don't have the number 3 or the number 5, you are missing out a lot because it's Sunyu Bus, Sunyu Network. Yeah, so gentlemen, it's good to have you on this program.
Thank you very much, Mr. Balde. Thank you, Mr. Bush. It's always a pleasure being here on the morning.
Yes. So, Mr. Buddy, how are you?
I'm fine. Thank you for having us, Mr. Balde and Mr. Bush. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes. First, let's start with Buba, as Buba is the QCell marketing supervisor, and they deal with a lot of introducing services to the market. Buba, dañ bëggoon ñu yaatal li ci local language.
Yeah, sure.
Nañ waxtaan tuuti lan mooy data splash bi.
Yeah, so tur bi summer data splash. ñëpp xam nañ ne summertime Gambia fii is usually starting si July bi demee ko ba si October bi, some will argue September. But QCell xam na ne tamit nekkul just summer bi leen nekk di celebrate. We are also celebrating suñu weer bi, suñu month bi. ñu bari xam nañ ne back in 2009 QCell month July bi la juddu.
July, yeah.
So it's not just about the summer, it's also about our month.
Okay.
So hanga celebrating your birthday, you shouldn't come likely.
Wow.
More ñëw ak lu am doole. So summer data splash bi ñu came up with this. QCell prides itself not just being the first of doing something, but also giving people affordability and quality. So summer data splash bi soo ko bàyyee xel ñu ngi joxe bundles at a heavily discounted price. Like so much discounted, some people like li dega na is true.
Na dina
muna am. So QCell ñu ne leen ne waaw mun naa am. So ñu then choose 4 of our most famous bundles. ñu ne léegi nañ wàññi price yi beyond reasonable. Like okay, let's say 300 MB. You bari, they are not heavy users of the internet. 300 MB is more than enough for them. So let's say some people are there, they're heavy users. They want to explore every single application on their phone. You just learn 10 gigabyte. It's just $250. $250 so with our current economic status right now.
Wow.
$200 faju dara.
Wow, du dara wow.
Du dara. Di nga téye 200 bi nga dem si sob bi jënd mburu omelette. Which it buñ la jox sa is basically nothing. Wow. So imagine someone giving you 10 gigabytes, that's 10,000 megabytes of data for just $250. So ñu la woon ne QCell since 2009 inception, but 2025 being let's say pocket friendly has always been our goal, and thank God today we are achieving it. ñu ngi joxe data at a very cheap price, at a very reasonable price, and cheap tamit is not everything. So what is cheap? Da nga war a ànd ak
quality. Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
So let's say man dem na marché ñu ne ma dala bi 250 la. The second question will be na dëgër na am na quality.
O nga gis moto bu seer ñu ngi ko jaayee 100,000.
Wow.
Foog nga laajte ndax moto bi lu ko jot.
Yeah. So in this sense ñun we go with quality and we go with affordability. So these are the two things that drive QCell from 2000.
Yeah, so it's important for you to consider quality whatever you're doing, Mr. Mamadou Mboye. So Barry, bugga nañ yow tam nga xuus si tuuti.
am na solo ñu ñëw ak li nga xam ne moom la client bi laajte ak moom la client bi soxla ni ngeen ko diggee depuis ci tàmbali bi ci weer bi ati 2009
waaw
ñu dig leen ko jël sas boobu noonu wan nañ dinañ ànd ak ñoom fekk ñu ngi fi fekk ñu ngi ci réew mi client yaa ngi ñu soppa ñu ngi ñu bugga ñu ngi ñoo fàlle ñu ngi ñoo toppatoo olof dafa ne feccum liit bu neexee ndeejaatee ci mbaga.
waaw si mbagay.
mbaga yooyu la client yi téye.
dëgg la
ñun nag waa QCell waa Q groupe ñoo ne lalal red carpet. saa su ne di leen indil li lu wesu seen njorta. saay buñ buggee rek ñu ngi cee dox. saay buñ soxlee rek ñu ngi cee dox léegi-léegi sa suñ xalaat yi nekk benn. léegi-léegi suñ jubluwaay nekk benn léegi-léegi suñ mbébét yi nekk benn.
waaw
ñoom nuñ ko xalaatee. si élection si suba si ñu def ko.
waaw
kon nag loolu lañu la fidèle kóllëre boobu noonu suñu diggante ak ñoom. di leen won ne rek ne tamit lu yomba te baax te wóor dafa am solo waaye di leen xamal tamit ne bàyyiwuñ leen benn yoon ci li nga xam ne mooy dajal réew mi. suñ network ñu ngi fu nekk gox goxaan gu nekk. te parewuñ dañoo tàmbali rek wax nañ leen ne ñun doomi réew mi lañ kenn duñu ñëw. di ñu puus fi nekk. Olof dafa nekk ñoo sabar sa bunti kër.
waaw looy wàllu
yaani
waaw jéem a tàkk
lii ñoo ko moom lii suñu bos la.
waaw
lii gis nañ si seen boppa ndax ñun ñëpp ñu dem.
waa gis nga amoon na time sax maa ngi doon waxtaan ak suma benn collègue over the weekend ñu ngi toogoon ni di ataaya rek. ma ne ko ne boy mu ne ma waaw ma ne ko ne QCell su ñëwutoon si réew mi ñun Gambia naka la ñoo def. because ñun ñu ngi fii bu yeneen GSM yi ñëwee gis nañ fi GSM yoo xam ne sax. jaayee nañ ñu fi ay sim card ay 1005 2000 plus.
loolu am na
loolu gis nañ ko. gis nañ fi ay GSM yoo xam ne. da ngaa toog rek sa crédit bi dem. understand nga loolu yëpp gis nañ ko fi. waaye QCell bu mu ñëwee sax amoon na time dañ taxaw ñu ne léegi sim card free la. ñëpp mun si jot ku nekk kontaan. kon suñ fi ñëwutoon dafa garaaw.
dafa métti moom laa ne bi mu leen demee ñun ñoo leeral. bi mu leen demee ñun ñoo leeral te leeral boobu ñu leeral ba tey ci lañ sax ci lañ dëkka ndig ñun amuñ feneen fa ñoo dem luñ am ci biir réew mi fii lañ ko benn ci ne fii lañ ko suppa kanjay fii lañ ko mbaxalee moo tax
mu ngi si biti ñëpp a
ngi koo gis moo tax it wax dëgg neex yàlla du GSM rek lañ am liñ am bari na
macha allah
kon nag di sant di gërëm client yi nga xam ne ñoo ànd ak ñun ci li nga xam ne moom mooy liggéey bi la.
dëgg la
soppañu buggañu.
waaw
fonkañu.
dëgg la.
xaddiwuñ benn yoon su suñu affaire nag. kon client yooyu noonu gàcce ngalaama.
QCell seen orange moo baax moo tax seen orange
waaw,
dafa am
gis-
dafa am vitamine
dafa am vitamine,
dafa
ah.
am vitamine seen orange dafa baax Buba dañ bëggoon nga wax ñu lii door na ba pare ndax
Yes,
kañ
yes,
la moo door ak ndax dafa am time bu moo jee
non right now moom ñu ne suñ client yi yëpp koo xam ne yaa ngi am QCell sim card right now
mun nga koo jëfandikoo
looy def rek code bi *303# la so daalee loolu rek si option bi mooy option 7 ñu ngi ko name bi Soma Data Splash soo ko reply rek di nga gis bundles yi 4 bundles yi
waaw
300 MB ba 10 gigabytes so it's available pour ñëpp dañ bëgg a koo xam ne yaa ngi toog koy na di jaay sa gerte ak koo xam ne mu ngi toog kay ñoom yëpp am the same access to the same plan bu ñoo jaay so bari wax na si coverage ci QCell bi it's not something that we take lightly
at all
ñun we are not just there for okay village nangam 50 people ñoo fa nekka jarut gi ñu jox gaay antenne déedéet QCell has the widest 4G and widest 5G coverage and these are facts it's not just speculation these are facts ñun suñ coverage bi duñ dee discriminate we are everywhere we are in Katong we are in Koina we are in Nyokolokoba we are in everywhere so basically su ñëwee si in time of coverage QCell is for Gambians it's run by Gambians and it's clear proof that QCell bu mu ñëwee 2009 Gambia amutoon 3G QCell was the first to bring 3G 2017 we are the first to bring 4G 2020 we are the first to bring 5G as well so loolu yëpp mun laa woon ne Gambians can do it and we are doing it we are not just relying
exactly
on
xam nga man lan moo ma gën a ne si QCell confidence buñ am that we can do it in our country mu ngi mel ni comme nu ko bari waxee rek suñ boss la nobody is running away you cannot run away from your home da nga ko war a defar you know Mr. Mbodj
suñ abee
waaw
suñ abee ay gan diir la rek gan gu ñu jàppale ab diir la rek
waaw jeex na
waaye yow mi sax moom bokk fi nga bokk jóge fi nga jógee soo ci jàpput gan gi bés bu mu pàggee ay dubosam ay waxaat neem dem
nooy def da ngaa
Mr.
taxaw di
Mbodj
xoole
man kay maa ngi leen di déglu
ak ñoo déglu
li ngeen di wax ni yëpp man fekkee naa yëpp
fekkee na yëpp am na yëpp buñ ko doon tabax buñ doon tabax affaire si moom mooy maçon bi
man macha allah Soma Data Splash bi li ko tàmmale ci ñaar fukki dërëm angale di ko ay $20 ñaar fukki dërëm
nga am ñaata
nga am ñetti téeméeri mégabytes
300 mégabytes
ba dem ci ñaari téeméer ak juróom fukka nga am ci 10 gigabytes ak loo mun a internet nag lii war na laa mun a doy
waaw
yaakaar na
non
so dafa mel ni ki xam nga dang dee am sort of li ma ooyee different segments of users di nga am ñi dee dem TikTok all the time xëy na ki use ko pour business ki la use ko pour whatever so da ngeen di cater
ñoom ñëpp lañ cater ñoom ñëpp lañ cover waaw
that's it
ak ki nga xam ne dafa dugg rek yónnee voice rek fayaat
waaw amoon na jamono boo xam ne si kees amoon na jamono boo xam ne dañoo yónnee ñu fay
soo paree da nga fay sa internet waaw ak lii
fay amatul waaye bari
naam
digga lii neex na maa ngi toog di seet nii man xam naa ne gis nga 1.5 gig bi sax man du ma ko dee mën a jeexal you know talk less of 10 gigabyte bi nii lii affaire la de
suñ client yi ñooy suñ doole suñ client yi ñooy suñ sidit suñ client yi ñooy suñ deret xam nga deret bu ñàkkee ci yaram
waaw
sidit bu ñàkkee ci yaram
dëgg la
moo tax client yi luñ jooy
waaw
ñu sabara lan
ñun ñoo amee tissue paper ñun ñooy fomparongo yi lu ñoo def ñu seeti Bright Stars ñu ngi defal lii lu garaaw
lu rafet
song bu ne ñu dem seeti ko
We innovate, others follow QCell, Soma Data Splash, suñu boss, suñu month, everything is class. Ñu lu ñu ñeme ku ko ñeme dinga. We innovate, others follow ku ñu toppa dinga. Fakastalu, QCell, suñu boss, ñu fi indi lu bees. Highly discounted, bundle you best. Num tuda, Soma Data Splash. Tegi internet di wàññi ko si suuf a suuf. Mko Soma Data Splash ya. QCell bundle, ko ci padang free. Ikodi, mko price all fanye bang. 300 MB, $20. 1.5 GB, $50. 4 GB, $140. 10 GB, $250. Usually bundle jungle ingeni angana ko anro no YouTube. TikTok sumadu jati Instagram WhatsApp do Facebook.
Namul Sunyumon
Sunyu Soma Data Splash. Butama dete, butama dete, butama dete. Dial star 303 hash and choose option 7 to activate your QCell summer data splash.
Choose option 7 to activate your summer data plus. So mbaringolo muruntana ne QCell kudima nati molie wala mu summer data plus ti ise bondulo sang sign no sanno kadati dalasi muang kara keme fula tan lulu anu keme fula tan lulu ibe 10 gigabyte la sotola me ya lonko anene manke jin Gambia banko kanja moto buba seydi kan fele jang ate mo marketing supervisor la ti QCell buba nin kudima fo mole ba
yes so balde QCell ba nin karo min kono July karo mo jamal yalon QCell 2009 sango kono QCell datita operation la in the Gambia July so QCell man tra soma da master bre kan wi nay soma data plus bondulol mana karo finance na safo wulu karo ba finance bre kan ko mi suñu mon so ñun soma data plus QCell min ke walem na bondulol da jindile to a point that safo is almost next to nothing so from 300 MB kata for 10 gigabytes what is sort of on $20 coming dealer it was what 30 or 40 MB akola dealer but futata temoto to a point that 20 MB is 300 megabytes dealer and mo jamal beje 300 megabytes is more than enough for them voice message QLM aning ko nyaade na duna forum ko na jibe mimba kerim banko ka but modol beje mi alon ko internet is their daily life it all foisa dung application do mo nyol ka fami Gen Z ntol kupatale like laftaka dung everywhere applicational siatale and we want to explore so nyin 10 gigabyte anata da di malal fanan ma di alla don ka fo ha 10 gigabyte fele bari mba wa file makodi jama hani mbe alon ko keme fula tan lulu sa man fancy keme fula tan lulu watu mo minno sa mono bar QCell kay ko keme fula tan lulu mba fen la di la keme fula tan lulu mi alon ko network ta game mba hanya ka anu mbake kande so star 303 hash walem code nyinte niya dikirek option 7 ibe hakilo to lol ka niya reply rek ibe nyim bondul nanol jalale ka dati dalasi mois kata fo dalasi keme fula tan lulu wala beje baram ko damma beje 1.5 gigabyte beje le $50 dorong 4 gigabyte beje le pour $140 dorong so these are all bundles mi alon ko pour QCell clientol bele ma di Karaba Avenue kol damala ma di Serekunda kol damala na di Gambia banko fokoina everywhere because QCell network ko fana man ka danta dula kilena man na ko anna dan kombo na santon kol bula hani Gambianol mbele we are all Gambians and QCell is for Gambians and Gambianol la fana ma do la jang so it's very important pour nanata coverage la mo lialon ko QCell le coverage soto ni GSM company ni bebe jang maybe dol sa fono combine fa ima molsi na coverage nanata na coverage of our network
nte won area anten fula le bije fo sawa
ntata dulato ika commande Medina Samako base koma
Samako nga Samako lo
Samako lo ni
nga Samako lo
sare gubu nga nyankuy nyin satel be
bari itamatal
wallahi QCell yakata bakel hani sa bakata kan pour kan network ko fan yandi bari nan network ko wallahi billahi nyontala
tonya aha bari yow tan en seda e pular
a jarama balde comme woni wiide tun woni QCell adani yang soma data plus woni megabytes o internet jippinama ha hawri e yimbe ben ko be hebata e jifa mabbe mbudi nogay heba 30 MB ha 150 heba 10 GB dum no webi dum no moji ne hawri e jifa ma kadi o jamanu hande mobile sa hebani internet ala mobile
tawai wona mobile
ala won tayna mobile so ko dum mewi non bay semantique seda en 2009 si QCell jibina ndulleru do July wono ndulleru July QCell jibina ko dum wadi men addani on special promotion mo anduda imbe on sohli dum sa wadi star 303 hash yaha option number 7 si tawi a hebi credit awata yaade ton ala credit awata wadi dum do kadi a hebali number 3 man number 5
awata dum wadde
il faut heba sim card QCell ko number 3 and number 5 heba credit so da credit ma wad aka line ma yaha star 303 hash option number 7 yaha ko o soma data plus heba internet dalasin mudi nogay ha temeji ɗe capanɗe joyi ɗum no weebi
de
client menen juura ɓe mbiɗen yetta ɓe te wakkilniɓe Qcell way ko minen wiide tun ɗum ko onon jeeyi suñu bos ko onon jeeyi oton ya nokku goo are e Qcell ko minen fompaton golɗi mon ɗin ko minen fompi golɗi ɗin ka sim ka jarata ɗo guluji buy
guluji ɗiɗi
capanɗe joyi wulude capanɗe joyi ko minen ittu ɗum ɗo ɗo ko minen addi 3G ko minen addi 4G ko minen addi 5G
te kadi 5G on andi himɓe ɓe wiya 5G ɓe 5G kono ko Qcell jogui pure 5G
telling you oɗo musidɓe am fulɓe yette number 3 et number 5 on yahan o Somas Place internet
Mr Mboy xam naa ko activate de Somas Data Plus bi war nga ko activate at least nga am bu 250 bi
am na solo trop askan bi liñ leen wax démba barka démba depuis biñ dooree ba tey dara du ci wàññeeku dige bor la te ñun amuñ feneen fu ñoo dem fu dut fii luñ leen wax ñu ngi cee def ñu ngi koo def te ñu ngi cee dox suñu bos du ay caaxaan suñu bos luñ gëm la ñun njëkka ba lañ koo forcer askan bi o ba lañ koo jox askan bi waaye askan bi naka jekka dañ koy fonka
waaye nag olof Njaay mu ne lu yàgg
nekk dëgg la
loolu dëgg la wax bu wér
len ne ma gudde bañ bi xamee wante wuñ de ku amee dëgg bi ku amee bu baax bi
ñëpp xam nañ ko dëgg la soo nañ jàppa si Qcell bi nañ jàppa si number 5 bi ak number 3 bi because ñun ñoo ko moom loolu luñ am si réew mi fii lañ koo séedoo
liñ denca moo ëpp liñ génnaagum li ci kanam waaw
da ngeen ñu bëgg a wax ne loo leen denc
lii du dara lii teeñ bi la en bi ñoogul
kon yéen loo leen ñu bëgg a def
bokki ñoom Mr Boy ñu ne tip of the iceberg
waaw
soo lii bu nekkee tip kon yéen
waaw balde noonu
ku nekk na ut 5 Qcell line
foog nga
doomi
5 Qcell line
olof ne doomi gaynde doo ko ñaanal rëy danga ko ñaanal gudda fan
bu gudda wax nga dëgg de
doomi gaynde
waaw
doomi éléphant
waaw loolu is obvious
it's obvious moom dafa juddu rek rëy
loolu is obvious
doo ko ñaanal loolu
waaw fan bu gudda bi nag
ñaanal leen ñu fan bu gudda wér gu yaram ñaanal leen ñu taxaw suñ tànk yi continuer taxaw suñ tànk yi ngeen continuer jàppale Qcell ñu ànd ak yéen di leen jox li ngeen soxla noo leen ko xalaatee rek mu ngi fi soo leen ko xalaatee dinañ ko def
bari kon yéen da ngeen ñu bëgg a foo leen ñoo yóbbu léegi Mr Boy lii en bi ñoo
absolument
teñ bi la rek en bi ñoo
loolu laa doon bëgg a laajte sax mais ñu ngi fa def suñu month so July la en o dina dem beyond July absolutely
dañ bëgg a ñëpp gis seen boppa si lii buñ ko def very short period ñu ne hey Qcell raw na waaye regardless sax waroo xaar Qcell di la raw because sim card bi ni nga ko dee waxee rek Ismaila moo ma ne nañ yéen yaa leen ko moom ñun dañ la ko téye si customer care bi demal nga jëli ko waaw like so man fooguma there should be any Gambian inside this country ko xam ne you are using your mobile phone nga ne war maa am Qcell you have so much reasons pour nga am a Qcell so gisuma any man since 2010 was the first time I'm mobile Qcell has always been the SIM card that I've been using so just the fact that ñu ne ma Gambian moom company bi and I was in school back then so ma am mentality bi ne su ma supporté ñi dinaa si gis suma boppa and that has been the case since ma dooree di use guide tey musuma xam ne dinaa fi liggéey today I am here
man sax pour use beneen line daf dee mel ni comme man duma dee feel I don't even understand naka lay mën a use beneen line
Badou diis na la
daf dee strange ci man I always Qcell bi moo gën a lifin never use so I think it's important pour ñu patronize luñ moom loolu yëpp si moom bi la moo tax man Qcell rek la amal soxla
yow mi réeral sa sim card bi yow mi teg sa sim card yi Qcell bi promotion baa ngi nii dawal jëli ko demal ci branche bi la gën a gaaw nga replace sa Qcell sim card boobu réer maa boobu nga teg te gisatuloo ko yow mi amagut ngir yàlla di nga tasee ñun ci biir dëkk bi ñu ngi ci biir dëkk bi jamono bii ñu ngi ci biir dëkk bi dinañ génn a jox leen Qcell yi for free amal sa ID card rek nga jox ñu ko ñu jox la line bu neex nga jël number 3 ma number 5 nga continuer di doxal am ci promotion bu neex bi la
nga man 2009 ni ma daan waxee ak suma paako yi pour ñu ñëw am Qcell line mu ne leen fii rek nga gis ne profit buñ make dinañ diversify ndig waa dëkk gi lañ seetlu nga ne ñi dee ñëw ci liñ téye rek lañ téye de xëy na léegi ñu maye fii maye fële waaye xam nga loolu ay yu ndaw la ay ñetta ak transfert
ci kin ceeñ la
na seet waaye ki fi jógee suy def amul feneen fu moo dem dafa def moo tax nga gis ñun niñ ma ñu nekk groupe
waaw da ngaa gis ne Qcell sax because xam nañ ne suñu bos la te da ngaa gis Qcell moom moo waral yeneen compagnie yu bëri ñëw te yooyu yëpp ay Gambians ñoo fa nekk
macha allah
njëriñ boobu yëpp suñ customer la so ñu ngi leen a ne jërë ngeen jëf so that ñu ngi ko injectaat back to the system back to the population
naka lañ ko nekk di injecté ci askan bi di leen ko delloo ci diine ji ñu ngi fa
dëgg la
ci wér-gu-yaram bi ñu ngi fa ci jàng ndaw ñi ñu ngi fa ci tàggat yaram
sports
ñu ngi fa
dëgg la Qcell
ñu bàyyiwuñ dara
jërë ngeen jëf time bi jeex na
bàyyiwuñ dara wax dëgg neex yàlla kon
dinañ ñëwaat dinañ final Buuba another time waaw dinañ ñëwaat ñu gën a yaatal waxtaan bi so thank you very much Buuba Seydi Kane and Momodou Barry for coming Mr. Momodou Mbodj thank you very much for co-hosting this program until we come your way again tomorrow enjoy the rest of our programs. Splash it.